the United Nations Recreational Staff Council Salus Wellness Network's president, Susana Bastarrica, held a panel discussion showcasing the award-winning feature film, Rooted in Peace. The panel discussion with award-winning director Greg Reitman was moderated by Yanna Darilis and had distinguished panelists who head up initiatives with their foundations that are helping to raise awareness and change the world. The distinguished panelists included Turner Seydel, Fabien Cousteu, Bloom and Scotty Bruer. Susana, thank you so much. You did a wonderful event. Tell us about the Salus Wellness Network.
Okay, the Salus United Nations Staff Recreation Council is a group dedicated to promulgate health, to communication, inviting special guests, having people do what they're doing now. This interaction is wonderful. And every month we have an event to bring awareness into the building and for the building to know other people. So the civil society with the UN Society. And we would like to make more panels like we did today.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the United Nations Staff Recreation Council Salus Wellbeing Network. We're gathered here today because we care. We're all here as a response to what's happening in the world. And we're very honored to have this distinguished panel of guests here, invited by our filmmaker, activist, Greg Reitman, and we are here to discuss the topics around his award-winning film globally right now at this point. He has many awards. Rooted in Peace, that challenges viewers to examine their values as Americans and human beings in general. Greg's film journey takes us on a little trip to notice what's going on in the world we live in and proactively seek ways to find personal and ecological peace and stop the cycle of violence.
Obviously, screening at the United Nations doesn't get better than this. And I think obviously what really made it really special was all the people that came out in terms of the panel.
A wonderful team on the panel.
Yeah, Turner Seydel and Fabien Cousteu and Bloom and Scotty Bruer and yourself. You know, really sharing about our symbiotic relationship with our planet and our interconnectedness, which is really at the root level of what the movie is about. It was sort of like, it was post 9/11, I was coming through JFK, and I was drinking my water bottle like a normal day, and I almost got arrested for drinking water. And basically the TSA agent asked me, it's like, if you don't leave your water, you're going to need to step out into the room. And I'm from New York, and I was like, all right, where are we going to step out? You know, I'm like, sure, here's the water, no problem. I'm going to get on my flight. But it really made me think about how our world had changed post 9/11 and what was going on. I interviewed the woman, Suzanne Herman, who was at that point she was the president of the ACLU, and really understanding how our laws were changing and about our privacy was changing. And it really moved me to a point of wanting to tell this story about Rooted in Peace, and really sort of activate, I guess, or make a film that would get people to understand how important our planet is and how interconnected we are.
And we have the honor of being with Turner Seydel, who has a wonderful foundation doing wonderful things with children and our environment, Captain Planet Foundation. Laura, tell us about it.
So Captain Planet Foundation actually came after the cartoon Captain Planet and the Planeteers, which was seen by millions of youth around the globe in 120 countries and 23 different languages, and it was powerful because it really taught kids about issues of global importance. And although kids could learn about issues related to the environment or social impact, they really needed a way to act out what they learned on TV, and that's what the foundation was all about. So that was started 25 years ago, and it really was about grants to educators, that critical gap funding that allowed teachers to get their kids, their butts out of seats, out of the classroom, and into nature, into the schoolyards, to do hands-on environmental projects. So whether it was doing recycling programs or testing and monitoring water quality, or doing habitat restoration, or planting school gardens. I mean, it was a really great thing for kids to be able to do, and it was their aha moment that they could really make a difference and improve things. So.
Do kids influence the parents?
kids influence their parents and grandparents, and we know that because we've seen millions of kids tell their parents to wear their seatbelts or to quit smoking. But they also are the veto vote. You know, it's like, oh, let's get an electric vehicle or hybrid, or, you know, don't throw that bottle away in a trash can there. You got to put it in the recycling bin. So kids really get it, and they have such a can-do attitude.
What would you tell moms now that are watching you? What is it that they can do better?
So kids depend on their families, their mothers especially, the chief consumption officers of the household, to buy healthy products and food for them to consume. With kids now are being born pre-polluted with hundreds of industrial chemicals, and so sometimes we can't shop around it, but we can make better choices. And there's a great website, ewg.org, that really is mostly for women, the chief consumption officers of the household. And they can look up pesticides in foods and the cosmetic database called Skin Deep. And there's a sunscreen database, which really, informs moms a lot better. So, I mean, there are simple and easy things we can do. And we also need to make sure that we're referring to the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, which are the fruits and vegetables that either are the cleanest as in regards to pesticides, or the Dirty Dozen, which you don't want to feed your kids because they have too many. And that's also on the EWG website. So we can heal our children with food, with good, healthy, natural, wholesome food. And we need to do whatever we can until our government helps us out, which are not doing such a great job of. Yeah.
And that needs to be addressed. So everyone, Captain Planet, look out for it.
And Captain Planet says, go planet.
Go Planet, guys.
And the power is yours.
Lauren Turner, educating our new generation to help the world.
That's right. Well, it's Captain Planet. There are probably a few planeteers in the room. Millennials, there may have been some folks that came to it later in life or earlier. But it was a cartoon, and I was glad to see you open up the film. Captain Planet should have been in there. I mean, Ted obviously
You know,
is a lot
there were a
Captain
lot
Planet,
of things that should have been in there. I mean, I look back
yeah,
now.
that's good. It's good. But there is kind of a peaceful guy that edutained kids. The first
He was a superhero.
Eco-superhero, Captain Planet, that was seen in 100 countries in 23 languages by millions of youth around the globe. And it really was focused on teaching kids about issues of global importance, not just environmental issues, but social issues, landmines, war, AIDS, things that maybe we thought would have gone away by now in our next stage of enlightenment, but they really haven't. Does this mean
Plug a planet.
that I have the mic? Planet. But we all have Captain Planet inside of us, and it was my dad's vision to edutain kids on television. And obviously that was when there wasn't a lot of competition. It was really before Cartoon Network that gave you 24/7 pretty much garbage these days. And you will find Captain Planet on Boomerang, which is the resting place for Looney Tunes and Fred Flintstone, sadly. But, one good thing is Leonardo DiCaprio's production company, one of them, has purchased the rights to Captain Planet, and
wonderful.
so maybe we'll get a new film before we...
We're with the famous Fabien Cousteu, who has a wonderful Fabien Cousteu Learning Center teaching the new generation, and not only all ages, on how to protect our ecosystem and our oceans. Tell us, Fabien, about this wonderful initiative.
Well, the Fabien Cousteu Ocean Learning Center is just that. We're going through what the family's philosophy is, which is people protect what they love what they understand, and they understand what they're taught. So what better way to introduce communities and individuals to the ocean world, but to have fun activities that actually restore our planet.
Tell us what is important to tackle during these times. What are the important issues that people need to be aware of on what's happening on the ocean's ecosystem?
Well, the ocean's ecosystem is really the planetary circulatory system of life that we depend on for our existence. And with that said, we're waging war on our oceans. And we're using it like an endless resource in a garbage can. And now we're starting to see the very real repercussions on our future because of it. First and foremost, I think the biggest lesson I've learned from my family, my grandfather, is one very simple thing that he said, which is people protect what they love what they understand, and they understand what they're taught. And with that said, that was the lifelong philosophy and mission for now 3 generations, and it has been the mantra for the Ocean Learning Center. And the even bigger difficulty with oceans is, as human beings, as terrestrial creatures, now terrestrial creatures, we are, as a community, very disconnected with it, regardless of the fact that whenever any of us go to the beach and look at the ocean, it gives us a sense of peace. It's one of the main reasons why we go on vacation. We seek out these water bodies. And it's the universal connector. It's the reason why we exist. When I was on a panel a couple of weeks ago at the American Museum of Natural History, and the astronauts and us aquanauts were battling it out to see which one was more important, which is a rhetorical question. I just pointed out to the astronauts that when you go out and talk about colonizing other planets, what is the first thing you seek? Water. And with that said, I mean, there's obviously both of these kinds of exploration are equally important. I want to give a nod over to your father, as a matter of fact.
You should take your home first.
What's that?
You should take your home first.
Well, someone asked me today, as a matter of fact, in an interview, saying, if we can colonize other planets in the near future, do you think that will save us? And I looked at her and I laughed. I said, how many people do you think you can put on a shuttle to one of these other planets? So you can save 1,000 people, 10,000 people? What about the rest of the people? There's no such thing as escaping the mess that we've created for ourselves. It's now time to restore this place to a semblance of what we love and what we want to give back to our future generations, the things that we've taken for granted.
And we are in the great presence of Lawrence Bloom, Secretary General of the Be Earth Foundation of the United Nations. Mr. Bloom, a pleasure and an honor to have you at the event, on the panel, and for all that you're doing for sustainability.
Thank you.
Tell us about your initiatives of this organization and today's event.
Well, this organization is just a startup. We're putting the pieces together now in quite a major way. My history, I suppose, was that I sat on the executive committee of the Intercontinental Hotel Group, and I ran their real estate worldwide. And whilst I was there, my team created an environmental manual for our hotel that was adopted by Prince Charles, called it the Prince's Manual, and now it's in 5.5 million hotel bedrooms worldwide. And I don't know if you've ever seen a sign, gives you the option whether you want your towels washed.
Yes.
That came
I was
from
just going to ask you, was that your initiative?
Yeah.
Did you bring in nature and sustainability to your hotels?
We started it. It was very early in the 1990s, and we were very much under the influence at that time of the Harvard Business School and the Chicago School of Economics, in terms of Milton Friedman's assertion that the only obligation of a director of a company was to the shareholders and not to any other stakeholder, and the only interest of the shareholder was the maximization of financial profit. So, the rest, as they say, is history.
Bottom line, that's all they care about.
So our little group had to fight quite hard to get that through, but we did.
And what is it that citizens of the world can do today to support your type of philosophy and initiative?
First, I think they need to understand where we are. There is no map for where we are. There's no map for where we are because we're moving from one state of change to another. So we're moving out of an age of change, and we're moving into a change of age. The difference between an age of change and a change of age is that your understanding of the world and how the world works changes. So the last 500 years has all been about growth and progress of a certain kind, but that progress has been the expense of personal relationships, our relationship with the earth that gives us life, relationship with the cosmos that gave us birth, relationship with each other. Without each other, our lives have no meaning, and ultimately our relationship with ourselves and our true nature. So now we're moving into a change of age. They're the things we're going to start to intelligently look at. And why everything is breaking down is to enable other things to break through. We're midwives of a new age.
That's the message. We are one.
We are
interconnected. And if you want to make a difference with yourself and get involved in all these initiatives to support what people such as Lawrence Bloom is doing and the rest of the panel.
And understand the greater part that you're playing. You're a small part you're playing in a greater whole, a massive shift from one world to another. I think it was Arundhati Roy who said, another world is not only possible, she's coming. And on a quiet day, I can hear her breathing. Maybe perhaps we should be looking at what's breaking through, what's breaking down. Maybe we should be looking to see what's wanting to emerge. Maybe species only develop in a way that we now need to develop when they bring upon themselves the sort of crisis that we are bringing upon ourselves. So we could look at this as a disaster or one of the greatest opportunities that this species has ever been presented with. It may just be that we are moving from unconscious co-creation to conscious co-creation. It may just be that we realize the limits of what considering ourselves separate has brought us to. See, I get asked, Lawrence, would you talk publicly about the planet in peril? The planet is not in peril. It's been here 4.5 billion years. Believe me, it'll be here in another 4.5 billion years until the sun becomes a red dwarf. It's us that's in peril. So we don't even word the thing right. I mean, I could really go on forever and ever. Yanna Darilis talks about the tree being an external lung. Of course it is, but the sun feeds the tree, the water feeds the tree. This is a totally symbiotic situation. What we need to do, and I realize I'm limited in time, so I'll go straight to an essence that I think is really important, is the children. We're taught separation from a very early age. We're taught separation from birth. This is mum, this is dad, this is you, baby. My name is Lawrence, mum's name is Maury, your name is Jim. What we're not then taught is, but that separation is so you can put your unique gift in towards the whole. How you can present that gift in this major symphony of humanity. So we are moving, if I may repeat this again, from an age of unconscious co-creation to an age of conscious co-creation. There's a greater urgency here than we know, because we're exceeding some of the limits of bio-nature. So here's my thought. There are a number of wealthy people on this planet who are leaving considerable sums of money to their children and to their grandchildren and to their great-grandchildren. But will they be leaving a world in which their children and their grandchildren can breathe the air, can swim in the oceans, and can walk the soil? It's time for a major rethink, and the time is now.
We're with Scotty Bruer with PeaceNow.com, doing great things to bring awareness on how we can bring more peace to the world. Scotty, tell us about your organization. How do you feel to be here today?
Wonderful. It's an honor to be here working for peace and to invite all of you to work for peace as well. We have a website that is available to anyone in any country to log on to, add their signature in support of a global resolution for the creation of departments of peace, economies of peace. It allows you to empower yourself and empower everyone around the world as we build a coalition that can take action for peace. It's not just about signing a petition. Unless we actually roll up our sleeves,
like he's doing today.
If you don't roll up your sleeves for peace, then somebody else is going to roll up theirs to do something that you don't want.
So peace now, everybody, peacenow.com.
All of the causes that each one of you hold dear, if it is Captain Planet or oceans or poverty or child education or girls not being educated, whatever you are passionate about can be better handled if we are at peace. Because $1.7 trillion are spent each year for the creation of militaries and our budgets for destruction. So it's a matter of resources. Not only is it economic resources, but it is human resources.
Yes.
There's 7.2 billion people on the planet. I think that's a perfect number. We have the opportunity for more scientists, more, I don't know which Bloom is the brilliant person that will lead us. But is that Bloom being extinguished because of poverty in a camp where there's war? There's a refugee. Is that being kidnapped? And these girls, I don't know what Bloom that we need to nurture, but we need peace now. We are gathering 1 billion signatures for the creation of departments of peace, for economies of peace, to support the United Nations culture of peace. Each signature is an act of peace.
Arlene, you're a great supporter of sustainability. You're always also helping all of these events. Tell us about how you feel to be here today, and tell us about the Kitchen Connection, which is sponsoring the food for this event.
Absolutely. I majored in food studies and social entrepreneurship at NYU. I defended my thesis on food as a dividing force and a uniting force. So this is something that I'm personally passionate about, but also professionally passionate about. And so it's an honor to provide the food here. At Kitchen Connection, we connect people to host or participate in live interactive cooking classes, all globally focused. And we had the honor of featuring Greece in January, and it continues with your support. And so I'm really happy to just be part of this family and to continue with events like this.
Julie, you are such a big advocate and activist of world peace and environmental health. Tell us about the event today and how you feel that Rooted in Peace is really making an impact on the audience.
Well, the fact that this young man, Greg Reitman, and he's telling us his story through us, because we are all here to understand that we are rooted in peace.
George, how do you feel to be here today, and how did you like the panel?
Yeah, it was an amazing event. First of all, congratulations to you. It was very interesting to hear all the different speakers on the panel to discuss about health and peace and education. I think that's the future, and I really hope that more people can hear about that.
In antiquity, all societies, great societies, believed in education. And so Aristotle had Lyceum, Plato had the Academy, and so forth, and in Egypt, and in so many wonderful, great societies. And it all starts with educating the children, as these wonderful people are doing on this panel today. Spread the light, spread love, and spread peace, everyone. Thank you so much.
And plant trees.
And plant trees!